Hey, it's me, Raika. Today we're going to have a look at the brand new Mauler hero, Vika, the Whip-Wielding Wanderer. Now, this hero wears cloth-based gear, is part of the mage class, and her primary role is to provide a significant amount of damage for your teammates. In addition, she will also provide a decent amount of control for your allies as well. So let's have a look at her abilities. Her ultimate ability, 3 in 1. At the start of battle, Vika whips the gyro and sends it bouncing between enemies. Now, this is a small little blade that will go back and forth between her and the enemy hero, dealing damage. Now, this will deal 240% attack rating damage. After landing a max of 5 hits, the gyro returns to Vika and her following normal attacks will launch the gyro to attack the enemy. When it is active, Vika infuses her whip with divine power and applies Phantom Totem to the gyro, which creates 3 Phantom gyros that attack the enemy hero with the lowest health. So, what this happens, multiple gyros appear on the battlefield, and every single one will focus, target, or hit a singular enemy. The level 2. The faster the gyro is spinning, the more phantom gyros are created. So, as we can see over here, up to 2 additional of these phantom gyros. The level 3, the damage of Phantom Gyros is increased to 400% of her attack rating. So let's have a look at the next ability. Whirlwind Whip. When an enemy is at close range, so this is within her melee range, Vika hits them with her whip and knocks them to the edge of the battlefield, dealing damage and stunning the target. So this stun is for 3 seconds. The target is unable to move or use their skills while being knocked back, and enemies in their path will suffer damage as well. The level 2, while no enemies are nearby, Vika gains haste every 1 second for a max boost of 16 points. So this is a significant amount of self buff that she can provide to herself. The level 3, the damage is increased all the way to 330% and 290% of the respective attacks. And the level 4, while no enemies are nearby, Vika gains 1 or haste every 1 second for max boost of 32 points. So this is a double on the 16 points that is provided at the level 2 upgrade. So let's have a look at next ability, top speed. Vika's gyro starts with a low spinning speed. So this is the blade, which increases every time she whips it. So each time it comes back and forth, she'll whip the blade again and it'll keep on getting faster and faster the more times she hits the blade. When it is at medium speed, damage is increased by 40% and magical pierce is increased by 10 points. When it is at high speed, damage is increased by 80% and magical pierce by 20 points. The gyro's spinning speed drops by 1 level for every 5 seconds it spins in place, or for every 6 times it hits enemies. The level 2 upgrade, the medium upgrade, damage is increased by 50 and magical pierce is increased by 15 points. Level 3, the same is true, 100% increase to the damage done, and the magical pierce is doubled from 15 to 30 points. So let's have a look at the 30 engravings. The gyro will continue spinning after Vika dies, bouncing between enemies up to 10 times with each hit dealing damage. So those are all the buffs and abilities for top speed. Let's have a look at our next ability, Sacred Totem. Vika infuses her whip with divine totem power and applies it to the gyro. If there are fewer than 2 targetable enemies on the battlefield, then it applies Rockfall Totem. Otherwise, it applies Tornado Totem. So Tornado Totem launches the gyro at the area with the most enemies, pulling them together, the gyro, and dealing damage every second for 4 seconds. So this ability is similar to Skrill's ultimate ability, where it is able to pull enemies closer to each other and dealing multiple AoE damage to multiple targets on the battlefield. The next one over here, the Rockfall Totem. So this is if there are 2 or fewer targets. Launches the gyro at the hero with the lowest health. The gyro bounces between Vika and the enemy 5 times, each time dealing damage to the enemy. So as we can see over here, at level 2, at medium and high speeds, the tornado damage is enhanced, additionally reducing the defense of the enemy target by 30% for 5 seconds. The level 3, at medium and high speeds, the rockfall totem, so this is 2 or fewer enemies, it is enhanced to ignore enemy shields, and if the enemy has no shield, damage is increased by 30%. So let's have a look at the 16 engravings. At high speed, the tornado totem is further enhanced to reduce the energy of enemies in range by 70 points every second. So this is pretty significant, especially if it lasts for 4 seconds. So this can be a total of 280 points of energy reduction that Vika can apply to the enemy hero. So let's have a look at a signature item. Superb technique. Now, when you unlock the signature item, Vika gains increased insight and proficiency when the gyro is spinning at medium or high speeds. So this is 12 points for each respective ability. Now, this is increased to 24 points for level 10. The level 20 unlock. Every time Vika whips the gyro, nearby enemies will be stunned for 2 seconds. So this is a significant control effect that is additional to the 3 seconds from her normal attack over here, which is the whirlwind whip. So let's have a look at a 30 signature item. The gyro's spinning speed only drops by 1 level every 8 times it hits enemies. With every hit, Vika's attack rating is increased by 10% for 7 seconds for a max of 50%. So because this is a temporary buff, Vika has to continue to attack and deal damage to the enemy heroes. So let's have a look at the next item over here, her furniture. Vortex Lock. When you unlock the 3 out of 3, if the gyro hits a stunned enemy, then any other enemy it hits within the next 6 seconds will be stunned for 1 second. So this is extra control that she can gain from this 3 out of 3 unlock. The 9 out of 9. At medium or high speeds, each hit landed on an enemy deals an additional strike of damage equal to 90 or 180%, so that is medium and high speed, of her attack rating respectively. So let's have a look at how she does in battle. Right, we're going to start off with the Oden training dummy over here. So as we can see, she starts in the back line, and we can see that the tornado or the little gyro over here is bouncing between the enemy targets. So as we can see, it hit the mage and then it hit the melee target over here. Now we can see the little vortex which pulls the enemies together and deals damage to multiple enemy targets at a single instance. So as we can see here, she hits the whirlwind or the whip over here, the gyro that she's currently having, a couple of times, and then with the final slash, she winds up and hits it to deal massive amount of damage to multiple enemy targets. So let's have a look at her ultimate ability. So as we can see, she summons the phantom gyros and it hits one singular target multiple times in a row. So let's have a look at how she does at a much higher level deficit. Now this is a 200 level deficit over here. Now, what I presume that her main purpose will be is to group up enemy targets. Now, she does not deal a significant amount of damage. However, the control that she can provide through her various abilities will allow your other allies to survive longer, deal more damage, and be more effective in battle. Now, her gyros will hit multiple targets. So if you have allies that can further group or stack the enemies on top of each other, this will make not only her, Vika, more effective, but also make any other ally deal more damage as well, because they will be able to deal AoE damage and essentially one-shot the enemies within a couple of seconds. So as we can see over here, we are finishing this battle off, and we can see that she's continually dealing damage to the enemy heroes. Now, she'll consistently stand in the back line, so she will not move into the front line, as she does not have any defense or damage reduction abilities. So what is the minimum investment that I would recommend into this hero? Now, I would highly recommend getting her 30 signature item. The reason for this allows her to gain all of those additional abilities, such as proficiency for insight and proficiency over here. Then we have the stun, which is the extra control based ability. And then we have the increase to her damage done. This will allow her to deal more damage, allow the gyro to hit multiple targets without losing speed, as depending on the speed, this will determine what effect or debuff is applied to the enemy. Then I would highly recommend getting her 9 out of 9 furniture, as this will allow her to do even more damage. However, her 3 is the critical one that I would recommend, as this gives her an additional area where she can stun the enemy as well. Now, I would not recommend getting her 30 or her 60 engravings. The reason for this is she's not a main damage dealer, and this will not provide any additional further effects for her. Now, also, you will not gain any extra effects such as more stuns, because all of her stuns or control based abilities are unlocked through her signature item and her furniture. Now this will be critical, especially against certain nightmare corridor bosses, which require a continuous amount of control based effects being applied to them. So this will further enhance Vika's teammate and allow her to shine in certain areas in the game.